Thanks for joining us. Hello. My name is Nate. I work at Open Store. I'm a product manager, which means I work with the teams that build the software that help us run the company. I do focus on our marketing and advertising technologies. All my background is marketing and ad tech. So we're going to get started quick with a quick round of introductions, and I'm going to kick us off with like a little icebreaker question. And then from there, I'd like to actually hear from the audience if there are any topics you were hoping we'd cover today, so we can just know those up front. And then we've got a handful of topics we're going to cover, and there's room for Q&A at the end, okay? You guys go ahead.
My name is Hudson. I'm the owner of Comfort.
I'm Julia, and I'm a content creator.
I'm Peter, and I'm also a content creator.
Okay, quick fire. What is your current favorite trending TikTok or TikTok audio? First one that comes to mind.
I can't think of the audio noise, but it's just like a simple dance, like two-person dance. You write a trending topic on the top. It's relatable. It works.
Nice.
I was gonna say also like any kind of like trending like little easy fun dance. It's like a little
Dances.
to get the audience like excited.
Okay.
Oh man, mine's the same thing. That's bad.
Okay.
We love to dance, guys.
Mine is a specific audio that I feel like I've been like my boyfriend will open up TikTok and it's the first thing that I always hear, and it's me and the devil. That one. Do you have that this week?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, quick round of introductions. I'd love to hear if anyone in the audience wants to hear about a specific topic today. Okay, yes. Okay, the question for the audio is how do you entice creators to want to work with your brand, right? No, to actually join. Oh, to join, to work. Okay, as partners. Okay, so we will definitely talk about that. Any other questions? Go ahead.
In the last month, we've seen an explosion of sales coming from Flip Shop. I don't know if you guys are aware with it, so I'd love to get your take on it.
From Flip Shop?
Yeah.
Okay,
Which is like
cool.
content creation.
Yep.
Oh, Flip Shop.
Anyone else? Okay, cool. Would you like to start with your story? We're going to use that as kind of like an anchor point and then go into talking about how brands and creators can work together.
Sure. So when I started back in 2018, I was trying to get started with my oral cosmetics company, Purely White Deluxe. We could not figure it out. We were trying paid ads, Facebook ads. It would just never work. We were spending a lot of money. I guess we were getting outbid. A lot of our competitors were doing just incredible jobs, and we were not really able to generate sales. I was working in the car business trying to build this company, and it just was taking a pretty long time, and I was just obviously not trying to give up when it was just something so new and so fresh that we were looking for different outlets to try to generate income for the business. One of the ways that we saw fit was to try to create a FOMO with the product and just show so many different people using the product that people would really just feel like, well, if I'm going to buy a product, I'm going to buy this product because everybody is using this product. So we were like, the only way that we would be able to do this is to work with content creators and be able to just amass such a partnership with so many different people that the business would just be able to strive based off the fact that like everybody on every platform was using this product. So working with content creators was like the biggest thing that saved our business. Snapchat actually was the way that we were able to generate sales when no other platforms were working. So really the story in the beginning was just like trying to figure out a way that this would be able to work for us. And when we found Snapchat, we were able to find creators that were really not having any set rates, because I think that's probably the biggest issue right now with companies trying to hire or get content creators that have really high rates. It's not going to be profitable for the business. So we just found a platform that we were working on for years. We were able to just continue to build our team and our infrastructure out. And then that was the way that we were able actually to break into being profitable on e-commerce.
And to highlight a few like success metrics from that period, I believe at the time in 2020, you were the most viewed product on social media, like brand. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
And you also worked with something like 1,200 creators.
Yeah, so we had 1,200 creators on Snapchat. So what we would do, and kind of, I guess it's already answering his question in a way.
Great. Give the people what they want.
So like we made it extremely personal. We did not want to email creators. We didn't want to make it very corporate. I still get on the phone when I talk to people that we're trying to onboard onto our brands. So it was really a big deal for us to try to show that we are human. that we can relate. A lot of our creators or a lot of people, they go through so many different mental health strains when trying to be able to be in the eye of the public. So we try to show them, hey, like we're here for you. We'd love to work with you. We build out a structure for these creators that they really feel like it's worth it. And one of the things that Peter and I would talk about is, when you're trying to bring someone onto your brand, you have to show the vision of where the business is going. For us, we knew where we wanted to be. We knew we wanted to have over 1,000 creators. Right now, we have about 1,500 creators that work with us on a monthly basis. And that's all due to the fact that we've just continued to make it personal. We've continued to build a family. And I think when you can do that at a very high level, remember, they have so many friends that see them promoting for us. And when they're having a good time and they're excited, it makes the other people excited. And it's so much easier to kind of build that rapport. So that's been something that's been huge for us.
Great. So you touched on a couple of things that I'd love to, I want to shift over, talk with Peter and Julia, but there are a couple of things you touched on, which is brands building relationships with creators, and then also basically solving for profitability, right? Because brands have to pay creators, they have to give away free product. They're taking a bet on that as a marketing channel that's going to be successful for the brand. So I'd love to hear from our creators. What do you look for when you're thinking about working with a brand? How do those two trade-offs play into it? Because maybe you'd be willing to do it because the brand seems cool, you like the person that reached out to you, maybe there's some hype with the brand and you want to get in on it, versus just cash.
Yeah, I think that what I'm seeing is a lot more important is that when we're working with these brands, our audience they're valuing more of organic content. We're working with brands that make sense. So if I'm doing get ready with me's and beauty content, I'm not going to promote a video game because then it seems not authentic and it's just not going to align. So finding brands that personally align with my audience, as well as it also helps when the reps from the brand or whoever is reaching out is easy to talk to. They're kind of making my job easier to work with.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think the main thing for me is brands that want to build a long-term relationship. When I think about brands that I've worked with that are the most memorable, it's ones that I've worked with for a few month period, a year, longer. With Hudson, it's been over a year and a half now, I believe, and it's been great. So I would say definitely try to create an actual relationship with your content creators. When my first talk with Hudson was just directly over the phone. He's like, this is the rate, this is how we're going to do it. And it made sense, and it's worked ever since.
Let's talk about the value of from the creator's perspective, and this applies to brands as well, why you want it to be a sustained relationship. From the experience that I've had in my career, and I didn't mention it, but I worked at YouTube before Open Store. At Open Store, I've also worked on our creator marketplace programs. It's really hard from both sides because from the brand's perspective, if you're constantly trying to source and do outreach and negotiation with creators, you have a filtering problem. How do you find the right creators you want to work with? And you have to do all of the work to build those relationships, right? And again, you're making a bet on, I don't know if this is going to be profitable for my business, versus creators. You're kind of doing the same thing on the other side, right? You have to both proactively reach out to brands, and you have them constantly reaching out to you. And you're doing the same thing, which is, as Julia said, is you're trying to find a brand or a product that's a good fit for you and your persona and your audience. So is that part of why you want it to be a sustained relationship? And then how long is a good sustained relationship? And what are some of the other things you're looking for in addition to just more than one off work?
I think the longer that you work with a brand, the more you start to realize what works in my content. How can I be more organic? How can I keep hitting my followers in a way that it's not too repetitive, but I'm reminding you hey, guys, get this product. I love it. You should love it too. And if I do a one-time brand deal with a company that gives me an amazing rate, that might be great for me, but that might not be great in return for the company. You know what I mean? Because if I get one opportunity and it doesn't work, it's, again, good for me, but not great for the brand. Whereas if I can keep working with you and we could do smaller payments over a longer period of time, now it feels like I have a longer term job as a content creator rather than this one-time payment, and you have a better return on your investment with me.
Julia? And then
I
Hudson?
think it's also really important for the audience because the way that they're viewing it, if they see that you're posting a bunch of random brand deals every day that are different brands and you're promoting two different healthcare brands and it's just not making sense, you're not going to build trust. And the most important thing for brands on their side to like generate these sales from using influencers is creating trust, like us creating trust with our audience. And so when you have these long-term relationships that I'm like still promoting like this same brand for, oh, this is your go-to, like lip products, the audience is going to perceive that as, wow, like this is a great product. They're working with them for so long. So I think consistency with those brands, it really just helps build rapport with the consumers.
I think one-offs on the business side too can really hurt the brand too. And it hurts the creator because if they take too many brand deals, it starts to dilute how authentic they are. And people will be less inclined to purchase when you can build out a structure. So what we did with Snapchat was we would work with these creators every week. They could do 1 to 2 posts a week. It would be a 24-hour story post with a link and a photo with a link. They would then post it. I would pay them every Friday via PayPal, and we would do, like I said, 2 posts a week. So we would do that every single week, no matter what. There is no end. We do not sign contracts. We rely on loyalty. We say, if you want to stop working with us, you can. And I think that is very enticing for them because it's consistent income. Peter's one-time rate may not be profitable for us, but if we could work with him on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, it will make sense. Now people see him every week promoting the brand and they start to look and view him as, oh, he works with Purely White, or oh, he works with Comfort, which is my clothing brand. And if you do that enough, then not only that, but it's also going to help your ROI on getting more creators to come and work with the business because they're going to keep seeing that every single week. Oh, well, he must be loving working with this brand because he's there every week working with them. So I think that's really important to kind of take is, if you can continue down the road of having incredible relationships with creators, there really is no end date. And as you scale the business and you come out with more products, they're already there. Our infrastructure from Purely White Deluxe going into Comfort, all we did was plug and play. We came out with the clothing brand. We took all of our creators that were working with the oral care brand. We put them into Comfort. We made sure that it aligned, and it aligned with most of them. And then we were able to scale the business right off the bat. So I think that's just a huge point to kind of take when you're looking to work with creators is the longevity.
Thanks, everyone. I want to come back to your question because we're on the topic before we move on. Do you have any other follow-up questions? This is going to be a great segue into the next topic as well. But let's talk about it. So have you thought about starting your own brands?
Definitely. It's something I've wanted to do since I was younger. And now that I have an audience, I mean, it's like, why would I not? That's what most people need to kickstart a brand. And so now actually me and Hudson, we are coming out with an addition to his and the first of mine called Belmont Acres. So I'm actually working closely with Hudson on that. So it's like my new journey in the brand that I'm starting currently.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I actually have my own fitness line that I've started. So I have, it's definitely important for a content creator to have a team behind you though, as you're starting a business, because obviously we're content creators. We're obviously working a lot of different ways. A guy like me, I'm traveling all the time and focusing on my work and filming and acting. So yeah, it's definitely it's important for me to have like a pretty strong team behind me to help me run these things.
Okay, great. So I looked at both of your link trees on TikTok, and you have a couple things that, like the typical like social media links, and you have, Julia, I noticed, for example, you have a link to an Amazon shop when you mentioned earlier about how important it is to have authenticity. So you have basically like your makeup routine is outlined there, the products you use. That seems like really related to what you just said. I want to talk about Flipshop. So Flipshop is kind of a newer platform. You mentioned you're starting to see sales come from that. Yeah. I'll summarize on the microphone, but do you want to describe like what the consumer experience is and then what you're seeing from the brand side? Okay, so I've seen Flipshop is basically like I would compare it actually closer to like LTK, which is another like to know is social shopping, where effectively the consumer app itself is focused on a combination of creators wearing brands and then acting as like affiliates where they make commission. It's a different format of that where it's more like video based instead of like photo based with taggable content. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? I'm curious what you think about a couple things there. Is one, the reason I mentioned your link trees is because there are a bunch of ways that creators can make cash by effectively acting as affiliates for brands. So like you could make money, Julia, for example, on your Amazon shop without ever posting about those brands, but you could if you wanted to drive some attention there. What do you think about like working as affiliates for brands on commission basis, not just for like flat fee payments? And what do you think about basically this flip concept?
So me and Hudson, we were actually talking about this yesterday. It's a very like new concept. I think there are, like you said, the LTK. There's TikTok Shop. There's the, what was it called? Flip.
Flip.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's a lot of them right now. It's like a brand new thing. I'm interested to see which ones kind of like take the heights over the other one. Personally, I kind of am on like I have the Amazon in my link tree, but I'm not really on any of them yet. Hudson's trying to get me on the TikTok shop. He's trying to get me hip to that. But I would definitely, I think that's going to be kind of my new journey, is like kind of testing that out soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty brand new to me as well, so I'm still testing the waters with it. It seems to be working for a lot of people, and it seems like it's going to be something that has a lot of longevity. So yeah, I'm starting to implement it myself.
Yeah, TikTok Shop is new, and obviously, if anyone else is doing it right now, it's interesting to see a lot of these businesses that you've probably never heard of just randomly blowing up, and they have 500,000 sales, and a lot of the content is. A lot of the content sometimes isn't even good content. It's just the algorithm is picking up anytime an affiliate is going to be posting. I think it's the future. I think that a lot of these, it's interesting because a lot of the videos that are blowing up on TikTok shops, I'm sure you guys have seen, they're really not giant creators. A lot of them are very small micro creators that have never really made any videos in the past or have never worked with a brand. So I think it gives an opportunity to, it's going to be very genuine too for the business, because when you see someone who doesn't have a huge following, you know that they're inclined to review the product very organically. It's not paid necessarily. So they're really going to give an honest opinion. I think it builds the credibility up of the brand a ton. I've never heard personally of Flip app, but I'm going to check it out too, because I think that's incredible. I think all of these new structures that they're trying to build out on TikTok, like they had an article that they're going to be trying to compete with Amazon this year. In the UK right now, TikTok Shop is huge. Nike's on it, Sephora's on it. There's a lot of big brands that are selling on it. So I think there is a lot of free real estate right now for businesses to get onto TikTok Shops, open up that app, reach out to creators, send them DMs, find their Instagram, start to try to work with them that way. And then they make these videos, if they go viral, people just click on the product and they can request a free sample. So it's a huge deal for people like us to go out and just like try to implement ourselves and put our foot on the ground now, because then once it gets too big and there's so many brands on it, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah, competition will definitely make it more difficult. And I think to your point, like they don't even have to be like huge, gigantic creators. TikTok does a good job from the consumer perspective of showing you content that you're currently interested in. So like I have a dog at home and I see all sorts of dog content with more and more focus on TikTok shops. I'll see more and more like basically creators are posting about like a dog food brand or some dog toy that they're selling in their shop. And I see a lot more of that content. And these are not like, these are not creators with millions of followers. They're creators who like are pretty good at the niche that they do. And so going back to that point about authenticity, for me, that's like probably the best experience as a consumer. Yeah. Any other questions on Flip Shop? No? Okay. This question is
100%.
about profitability and incentivization.
Yes. A ton of it is just as you start to get involved and what X amount of views can equal for your brand, and then you start to see what creators are able to drive more traffic and more sales, you can start to really see where is that middle ground where it's profitable enough for the creator that it makes sense, but it's also profitable enough for us. So there's a lot of ways that we've implemented making it make sense, right? So everyone has a different rate. We know this. When you have a creator that has a little bit of a higher rate, you have to make the numbers make sense. When you break it down as a per promo, the number may seem small, but if you break it down on a yearly basis and you explain to them, hey, listen, if we can work on a yearly basis at this rate, it's going to make you X amount of dollars, $45,000, $50,000. That can pay for your car, your this, your that. This is income that is never going to go anywhere because we know that this is going to work. So for instance, when we work, there's two sides of this. On Snapchat, we would pay per post. With TikTok, we do a lot of commission based where I actually, are you guys familiar with Spark ads at all for TikTok? Yeah. Okay. So we do a lot of Spark. No.
Yes. Anyone know? Not familiar with
If
Spark
you're not, I
Ads?
can explain it quick.
Let's
It's
do a
easy.
quick definition.
Okay, so Spark Ads is really like whitelisting on Facebook. You're taking the creator's content, you're getting an ad code, and then you're running your video sponsored, but with their name. So we do a lot of Spark Ads, and we actually are now doing Spark Ads, but on shops. So it's showing their name, and then we're implementing shops on this. When you have Spark Ads, with these creators, we pay a commission. As we boost their videos, it incentivizes them to make great content because then we're going to pay them every single week. I have a girl right now who made us one video 8 months ago. She's made about $70,000 on one video. She makes us videos every 2 weeks, but the one video that she made, we never stopped running. I think it has almost 80 million views. Yeah, purely commission based. So we never even paid her a rate.
Do you mind talking about the actual, what are the terms with her?
Yeah, so we took the video for 365 days. That's the ad code that we put in, and we pay her 15% commission on anything that sells with that link. We also use Triple Whale, which if you guys are familiar with, they just are a better tracking than TikTok will track. So it helps a lot with us seeing what videos are actually generating income. So we that's one of the ways that we've done it is if we're working on a commission base, if you have historical data of people that you've worked with that have done well with you, and you know that the content that you're looking for is what that creator can make you, you can kind of gauge and explain to them what you think they'll make off commission. But if you're paying them a rate, you have to go out a year, 2 years and explain where the brand is headed and tell them, hey, listen, I'm not going to be a one-off. I'm not going to be the brand that works with you 3 times and gets rid of you. I want to work with you for a long time, and I want to build this relationship with you. And anything we do moving forward, we're going to include you in because you're part of the family now. It's a family vibe. A lot of creators are they're used to brands either screwing them over or having a horrible communication or never paying them. So when you're a brand that comes in and you're genuinely excited about the relationship that you're building, it's going to make them way more inclined to want to go work with you.
Yeah, I have a couple of follow-up thoughts. So on the last one, on the creators, like, the value that they're getting out of it, they want to make sure they trust it, they want to get paid. From the creators, tell me yes or no. Like, do you really want to be dealing with like terms and negotiations all the time? Probably not. No, I don't want to do that either. It's not very fun, right? So you touched on a couple of things. So one is a really interesting business model that I want to make sure that everyone understands, because it seems really adaptable for anyone who's trying to do more work with creators, but is worried about like the upfront choice of choosing the right creators, if you have to pay them up front. We also touched on attribution and measurement. So like one way that you can solve kind of all of those things in one is the model you described with this creator who's made 70K in commissions. So let me recap that. So you've got a pool of creators that you're working with on a regular basis. You probably paid her some amount of cash up front to like build the relationship and for the organic post. But to your point, you're negotiating really good rates by focusing on long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. Then on top of that, you're telling the creator, hey, look, if your post does well, basically based on engagement or based on prior data that we have, I'm going to run your post as an ad, which means I'm going to get you a lot more reach. And then there's also an additional benefit to running the post as an ad because it doesn't show up on social just as an organic post. Organic posts are not usually that shoppable. We're talking about the advent of shopping, and they're becoming more and more shoppable, but historically they haven't been super shoppable from the consumer perspective. An ad comes with a call to action and a link that goes straight to a landing page for a product. It's very easy to measure. It's very easy to convert, right? So ads perform better from a consumer perspective. So what you're doing is you found a creator, you've got good posts, you're then driving traffic via ads to a creator branded experience that goes right to your landing page, easier for you to measure and better for the creator because they're going to make commissions on a larger volume than they would have on just their organic post.
Correct. So the one thing that we look for when we're building out a really good ad is obviously the hook. The first 3 seconds are the most important piece. So you want to get them excited. We have a video right now that I think is at 6 million views on Facebook. And it's just one of our creators like almost plopping onto the couch with her comfort hoodie on. And it's done incredibly well because it shocks the audience right away. It's like this girl falling into the couch and everyone's like, what is happening? And then it's a voiceover. Voiceovers for our clothing brand have worked very, very well. But them talking directly to the camera for our oral care brand has worked better than voiceovers. You have to find what works and then just continue to go down that path. So it's the hook, then it's the meat on the bone, right? People don't need time to make a decision. They need information. The customer needs information from you. So if we can give them enough to be relatable, because a lot of the time you're looking at these creators and you can't relate. And when you can't relate, you don't really know why you want the product to begin with. So the creator has to be just really molded to be as relatable as possible on social, because you know who your audience is and you know who your audience isn't. Appeal to your audience consistently. The more creators you bring on, you're going to be doing the same exact thing. Hooks can bring businesses to 15, 20, 30, 50 million dollars. One hook. So we've just continued with the hook that works, but then the end on the call to action is, for our clothing brand, we're always sold out. We are always sold out. You know, you'll go to the website and you'll see that we don't have the size that you want. So people will go there and they'll either notify when available and they'll come back, or it will just create a FOMO. Like I said earlier today, like FOMO is what is really going to bring people into the business. They want to feel like they're missing out on something. There's so many businesses, there's so many brands promoting. Why are they going to choose yours? So we do that within a video. So hook, meat on the bone, and then call to action at the end. And when you do that with an ad and you're putting a lot of budget behind it, it's different than our competitors. A lot of our competitors are huge businesses, but they haven't figured out a way yet to make the ads exciting and engaging enough and organic enough that people are actually going to relate and want to go buy. That's the future. Like TikTok, we know how people are on TikTok. They're just rambling. Like Julia just talks like she's talking to her girlfriends, you know, but it's an amazing thing if you can then bring that into your business where they're just talking about this product. If you look at the shops videos that are blowing up right now, the girls are just talking. They're not trying to be scripted. The scripted, no one cares about that anymore. You have to be organic. You have to be excited, and you have to just want to talk like you're talking just about anything. And that has worked the best for us.
I'm glad we made it to this section. So you kind of broke down like an effective video ad format into 3 chunks, which you've called the hook, the meat on the bones, and the call to action. From the creator perspective, do you have different perspectives on like what's a good formula, especially for branded content that you're going to post? Like, how do you think about that, and how would you choose what to actually, I guess there's a couple things. So when you're working with a brand, you're going to have some level of creative direction from them. Some are more prescriptive, some are more hands-off. How do you go about that process to make sure that you produce content that you feel good about as a creator, but that you think is going to do well for the brand?
I think brands are now realizing that it's honestly, social media from when I started 4 years ago is so different. We started off seeing like very scripted ads, but not many, and more of like dancing. And now we're realizing that we have to be more like organic with our audience. So when I'm doing a brand deal for a brand, sometimes they give like really strict creative control, which I don't love because then it's like hard to put my own touch on it. But I also, some of them kind of just send you the product and they're like, whatever feels organic to you, whatever works good. Because things like, we can all be in a beauty space, but maybe like getting ready with me videos do better for me than someone else who's more focused on like, oh, I love these products for the month. So I love when brands maybe give some kind of like brief creative direction, but also when we're able to put our own spin on it. Because I mean, in reality, we know what works for us. We know we're the creator. We've been doing this. So I really appreciate when brands let us do that. And then I also love like the hook, like he said, 3 seconds. Like I know it's, I think 15, and that's all you have for them to just keep scrolling. So it's really important for that hook to just keep them watching and being like super authentic and organic.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that brands are still missing out when they, hit you with very strict pinpoints, like show the box, show the product, like say this, and I'm like, you don't understand that someone's just gonna scroll past that. They're like, oh, another ad. They want it to feel organic. They want it, if you're a girl that generally just talks to the camera, they want to feel like Hudson said, you're just talking to your girlfriends. They want to feel like they're your friend. And I decided I want to buy this product, not because you told me to, but because I want to. So what I would try to do with a lot of brands, when I was still doing my prank videos back in the days, I would try to implement some of these brands into a prank video or something that was organic that my followers are used to seeing. Because the moment they see something that they're not used to seeing, that's not my video anymore. So you have no idea how many times I've had to talk to companies and be like, I'm telling you, I know you want me to do the video this way. I will get you so many more sales if you just let me do it my way. So either a guy like Hudson who's like, I figured it out, this is how we're going to do it organically, or let me do it my organic way.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it back to Hudson because brands should be thinking about splitting the way that they work with creators. I want to get your thoughts on this. So there's content that can do better organically on social based on like the aesthetic or the vibe of the creator, but then you might also as a brand owner, be trying to solve for like, oh, I need more content for my ads. How do I solve both of those problems at the same time? Because I'm already working with this creator. I don't have like 100 more to work with. I don't have unlimited budget. So how are you tackling both of those problems separately?
So can you repeat the last part of the question?
How are you thinking about like what would do well for the creator organically versus maybe if you just want like a bunch of UGC content you're going to chop up and turn it into an ad? Like, do you think of those as two different problems?
Not necessarily. We don't really do a lot of, we don't really edit the videos much. We kind of just take what the creator gives us and then we just will put that out as an ad. One of the things that we've noticed that has worked really well is creating almost a collage of unboxing where someone finally gets your product and you just clip up that part of it where people are saying different things and they're showing a different level of excitement. That has done really, really, really well for us. So we've been testing that more so with the clothing brand, but just really right now, like when you don't, it's not necessarily, and I try not to make it about budget because there is an unlimited amount of creators out there. You can work with as many creators as you want without having to pay them upfront. You can pay them commission. You can get smaller creators that are about to blow up. The one thing that we love doing is finding creators that have so much potential that have not blown up yet. Like they're about to blow up and you're like, okay, I know this girl is going to do incredibly well. Let's bring her on. Those creators for us have done the best, sometimes better than our biggest creators, just because they're so new, they're so authentic, and they're just trying to be themselves. That for us has worked the best. So I think when you're looking to get more creatives, or if you think you have like a creative block, just the way that we like to do it is this. And this is kind of answering your question in a way too. We've brought creators on to work with us on a monthly basis that will actually go out and DM other creators. So I'll bring a creator on and I'll say, hey, listen, I'll pay you X amount of dollars per person that you get me on a call with that I close to come work with the brand. Once you do that, and you as the owner, right? Like there's no ego here, right? Like we don't have egos. We own a business. We know that this is a 24/7 job. I get on calls with every single person. I introduce myself as the owner and now they take me more seriously. It's no longer corporate. You're my friend. I got on the phone with Peter for an hour. This is just what we have to do. And now we're here a year and a half later. It's one of those things. So when we get a creator on board, and I think that they're really good at what they do. And a lot of these times they'll talk to you about what they want. They're like, hey, do you have any more work for me? I want to make more money. We bring them on to the brand side. We're like, hey, go reach out, find people for us that you think would really work and fit within our brand organization. And when they do that, when it's one creator to another, the likelihood of converting that person to work with your business goes up by 50%. So we've done that a ton. That's part of the reason why we've never had problems getting more creatives, because we're just constantly bringing on maybe 50, 60 people a week.
Okay, we're getting short on time. I want to make sure any new or lingering questions have a chance to get addressed. We got a couple. Go ahead.
Hudson, what do you say? What would be the playbook to get?
I keep it so simple. We will look at what historically has worked for us. So the look, the style, the vibe, the voice. If you don't have that yet, try to look at your competitors and see what's worked for them. Go to their Facebook ad transparency, see what creatives have worked for them the best. But when you're outreaching, keep it simple. Go right from your Instagram page. And some people might disagree with me with what I'm going to say right now, but boost your followers on Instagram. Make it look like you have you have something there, get the brand up and running. We did that for our business right away. We boosted our likes a couple times. We wanted to show, because remember, customers are looking at that, but also creators are looking at that. They want to see that someone cares about the business. So when you're DMing off that account, it's right from Instagram. We have one rep that works for all the brands. So I have 3 companies. We're going on company 4 with Julia. The same person works for all the brands. We use Notion.so. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Notion is incredible. If you don't know that, definitely get it. And we just put a table there. We fill everything in, and then we'll just see. It's a numbers game at the end of the day. So to find a creator that work with you long-term, just find small creators first, build that brand out, and then once you have enough to showcase, then reach out to those bigger creators and they'll see that you have a good organization and structure built.